Hello and welcome to the Friend-Leigh Show. I am your host and friend, Lee. Okay, so I am so sorry that I missed last week, but thank you for giving me grace. And some of you guys checked in, which was really sweet. I was in the hospital with my sister, and so I obviously did not have the capacity to be able to hop on. So I really, really appreciate it. She's okay. But yeah, that is, although this podcast is super important to me and I love it and I love you guys, that was obviously the priority at that time. So thank you so much. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to double up and do the pillar from last week as well as this week's pillar. So for those of you that are new to the show, what we do is we have a theme every month. And what I'm going to start calling it is like micro seasons or micro, I don't know, there was something. So because every month we have a new theme, and then we dedicate each week to one of the pillars of the happy framework to that theme. So this month we've been talking about mindset, and last week we were supposed to talk about partnerships and how do those affect mindset and how does our mindset affect our partnerships. And this week, we are going to be talking about youthfulness and how those intertwine. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to do both pillars because I think they're both really important. I don't want to miss it. So we're going to go ahead with that. And we do things a little bit differently on this show. So it is a very live, interactive show. So what we do is I like to pretend that you were invited into my living room and we're having a chat. Maybe you brought a friend, maybe I brought a couple, and we're talking about, the theme that we're starting with. But if you've ever been in conversation with me, you know that it squirrels all around. And so that's what happens. So when you have a comment or a question or an experience based on what we're talking about, if you put it in your comment section, whether you're in YouTube or Twitch, Facebook, or LinkedIn, then I will bring your comment right up on screen and you become part of the show. But the nice thing is it's just your comment. So you're able to watch the show in your pajamas and still participate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a few notes that I made. And then we will get into the conversation piece. So I'm going to really hope that you guys are here watching it live. And that way we can have that conversation because that really is my favorite part of the show. So let me go up here. Okay. Where are my notes for that? Here we go. Okay. Take a breath, Leanne. Okay, here we go. So let's first talk about partnerships. Okay. So when we talk about partnerships, I'm talking about all the relationships that we have. And when we were talking about mindset, we've already talked about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And this is especially important when we're talking about partnerships, because if we look at our partner, whether it's our romantic partner or our boss or our coworker or somebody that's, even the barista that you're working with, if you look at it with a fixed mindset, like the interaction that you're having with them and the way that they show up is the way that they're always going to show up, then we're going to have a really hard time growing in that relationship together because you're going to judge them based on one experience or maybe even the past. And you're not giving them the grace that we want as individuals to be able to be recognized in our growth. So looking at our relationships in the growth mindset is really beneficial because then, as long as we're communicating, then we're able to say, oh man, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. This is how you've usually done things, but I guess I'm just going back to old programming, right? So if you don't have that growth mindset, you're not able to have those types of conversations and you're not able to grow together. And what happens a lot of the time too is that you'll be in a relationship with somebody. This has happened so many times that you're in a relationship with somebody for years, right? And you keep judging the person based on, past experiences, and they may be growing, but you're not noticing it. And they notice that you're not noticing it. And so then you guys are always getting in fights. All of these things are happening and you break up. or you divorce or whatever. And then they go on to another relationship, and then you're like, "Oh, he's a totally different person, or she's a totally different person." When meanwhile, they were that different person when they were with you. You just didn't notice it because you looked at a fixed mindset based on old programming. So, not to blame you or me or any of us, but that's why growth mindset is so important in partnerships. I'm working with a gal right now who's been in a relationship, been married with this person. And, she's like, oh, he just won't change. And that saying, now there's a caveat, people won't change for you, right? People will only change for themselves. But saying that people won't change is unfair because we all want to believe that we can change. So if we personally can change, then that other person can as well. They just may not want to change the way that you want them to change, but they are capable of change. And so when we have that fixed mindset that they'll never change, they're always going to be this way, then because we've talked about this before, that we have the RAS system in our brain, we have all of these things in our brain and in our mindset of always, whatever we focus on, we create. Whatever we focus on, we see more of. And so if we have the belief that they won't change, then we are going to be seeing all the ways that they have not changed, right? If you believe that they're going to change, you'll pick up on the nuances of the little changes that they're making. So that is all why it is super important. One of the like a really useful sentence or even word that you can add to things is the word yet. It's super, super powerful. So if you're saying, he's never going to change, instead of saying never, never and always are really, really dangerous words to be using for when you're talking about yourself or other people. But if you say, instead of he will never change or she will never change, you swap out never and you put yet at the end. So instead of he will never change, you say he hasn't changed yet. And that opens up the possibility that there is a chance for growth and a chance for change. It could also be, we don't communicate well. But if you add yet to it, now we don't communicate well yet, meaning there's a chance for change. And so that's why this mindset, the way that you look at it and the way that you kind of process it is really, really important. Expressing appreciation for even the little things, it rewires our brain for connection. So, it's natural to, let's say that you really wish that your partner would clean out the dishwasher. Like it's, clean, it's done, you put it on, you ran it overnight, and in the morning it needs to be cleaned out. And you wish that they would just do that. And then they do it. And instead of acknowledging that they do it, you instead are like, hey, yeah, it was nice that you did that, but, which is also dangerous. But, you put the plates in wrong, or you put the glasses in wrong. I like them up and you put them down, or whatever it is. And you think, okay, well, I want to train them into doing the things that I want the way that I want, instead of saying, wow, I really appreciate that you cleaned out changed up the dishwasher. I really appreciate you goes a long way. And that becomes the mindset part, focusing on the minor changes instead of expecting the big changes. Those big changes won't come if you don't appreciate the small ones. And then another thing is, the mindset around relationships, getting into relationships, especially as we age, as we get older, becomes more difficult because obviously if you're not in a relationship right now, then all the relationships that you've had have never succeeded, right? It's true. There was success in them, but you're no longer in that relationship. So they haven't worked out. And so it's very easy as we get older and more experienced with it that we're like, oh, well, it'll never work out. But if we can start focusing more on the mindset that we have it, that it's, I'm really lucky that I have another chance to be able to meet somebody else, or I don't deserve good relationships, or I'll never have a good relationship. You can say, you know what? That's not true. I'm excited to get into a good relationship. And maybe what that means is figuring out what that looks like. Something that sometimes we don't ever do, right? Like when you say, hey, who would your ideal partner would be? What would your ideal partner be? A lot of the times it's what they look like, it's the job that they have, it's all these things, but we don't tap into the way that they are, the way they become, you know? So we want to be focusing on that. And this is all mindset, all of it. Okay. And then the last thing is knowing that in relationships, they take work. All relationships take work. The work of, even with your coworkers or with your boss or with your significant other or friends, they all take work. And understanding that they take work and having the mindset that they're going to take work and have that growth mindset that we can change together is really important. And so, because it takes work, it also takes time. And so, you know, creating rituals that you guys are going to be in connection at a certain time. So like if you have I've talked about this on the show before that when I meet up with friends, a lot of the time what we'll do is we'll pull out our calendar right away before we leave each other and say, okay, when are we getting together next? Even if it's quarterly, even if we normally only see each other, once every couple months, we make that plan. That way, because time flies, that that's going to come, because it's very easy for a month to turn into 3 months, to turn into a year, to turn into 3 years, and then be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like we totally missed out. So making connection as a ritual that you set up times is really important. Mike and I are trying to do a State of the Union. We wanted to do it every week, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's okay. But we're going to be doing it at least every month, once a month, but we're going to plan for once a week. That way, if we miss a couple, we still get it done every month. And that's a dedicated time where we kind of take stock on where our relationship is. Are we both getting our needs met? What can be changed to make it a little bit better? What do we need, in the way of support for us to achieve our individual goals? All those kinds of things matter. And it's very easy for resentful feelings to happen because you think your partner should know you. And that's just not fair. So having the mindset that, okay, you know what? We're going to get together and we're just going to vocalize exactly what we need in a loving, constructive way. It's really important. So, okay, let me get to, so that's all about mindset and relationships. So if there's anything, if you're watching this right now, even in the replay, and there's anything that I'm sparking that you have a question or a comment or even an experience you want to share, go ahead and put it in the comments. And when I come back, we'll bring them all up on the screen. Okay. And if you're watching this in the replay, then I will make sure that I comment back to you as soon as I see it. If you're listening to this in the podcast audio version, I highly recommend that you come on over to one of those platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or LinkedIn, and join us every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern or 6:30 Central, or whatever it is for you, and join us live so you can become part of the show. Okay, so then the second part, what we're going to be talking about is mindset and youthfulness. So youthfulness is, if you've been part of the show, it has nothing to do with age. It also has nothing to do with the amount of wrinkles you have. It has nothing to do with any of that. It is truly a mindset game. It is truly deciding to look at the world differently. And so youthfulness is really all about curiosity, playfulness, and resilience. The right mindset, if we have it, and we could change it. So if you've never felt like you can be youthful, you don't have the time, you have too much responsibility, whatever it is, if we have the right mindset around our youthfulness, we really can approach life with more energy and joy, no matter what our circumstances. So if you guys know me personally, or even, through the show, that right now it's a tough season. My family is going through a lot right now, and my sister especially is going through a lot, and it's very heavy. But I'll tell you, amongst all the crying, amongst all the frustration, amongst all the pain and all of it, we laugh every single day. Every single day. Yesterday, we were in the hospital for 18 hours. And do you know how many times we laughed and laughed with other patients that were there, and laughed with the orderlies, and laughed with the nurses? And we were going through a lot. And even my sister, in as much pain as she was in, doing the same. And so it really is a mindset. And the more that we focus on making that a priority, making youthfulness and fun and playfulness a priority, it actually ends up helping all the rest of the pillars. It helps your health, both mentally and physically. It's been proven. It helps our relationships. It lightens things up. It helps our purpose because we're able to, when we're in a lighter mood, we're able to see life differently, more with possibility. We're able to, like I said, do it with like help our partnerships, and affection for ourselves is huge. If we can really have more playfulness, more curiosity, more lightheartedness, that's really good for our nervous system. So there was a study in psychological science, and they found that people who view aging positively live an average of 7.5 years longer than those with a negative mindset about aging. So that in itself is huge, right? And it makes sense because when you look at aging, what we resist persists. And so if we're afraid of aging, if we're afraid of, getting sick, if we're afraid of this, we're putting more focus on it. And that's more chances for us to age not well, right? To get sick, to all of these things. There's a huge thing in the mindset of our youthfulness that plays into our health. So, some of the things that we can be doing to kind of inspire a youthful mindset is to stay curious. I actually ended up talking to one of my neighbors. They were in the ER the same time that I was, and we haven't seen each other. They were a past neighbor. They moved away 16 years ago, I think it was. And so we had a lot of catching up to do. We see them maybe once a year. So we had a lot of catching up. And he was telling me that, he's in his 60s and he looks fabulous. I was like, dude, you haven't aged at all. I can't believe it's been 16 years. And he equated it to being curious. He says, you know what? I just approach everything. Like, I'm constantly doing new projects. I'm constantly like on YouTube learning things. And he says, I really do feel like that keeps me alive and it keeps me young. And there absolutely is truth to that. So deciding, having the mindset that you're going to be curious, that the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, it's just not true. So, deciding that you're going to learn something new every day. That could be like a skill. It could just be taking on a fresh perspective about something. Or even just like a fun fact. Get one of those calendars that are a daily calendar that come up with fun facts, or just look online. All of that means something. Laughing more as well reduces cortisol levels. That's been proven. It increases serotonin, and it increases our happiness and our well-being. And so that's why it's so important. And we do it every day. Mike and I don't think we've ever really gone a full day without laughing with each other. And same thing with my family, my parents, my sister, even in our most dire times. And we're that family that when we're at a funeral, I don't know that if we've ever been to a funeral where we haven't been laughing. And yeah, some people might think that that's, disrespectful or inappropriate, but I don't think it is, because people want to be happy. I mean, my work shows it. How many people want to be happy? It's all of us. And so how better to respect the person that has passed than to be joyful in their presence, so we absolutely do that. And then surround yourself with playful people, where we end up becoming the people that we're really influenced by. And so if we're around people that are just really stuffy and aren't laughing at all, that becomes a problem, because then we start having the mindset that it's not appropriate for us to laugh and to be playful and to have games. But energy is contagious. So if we hang out with lighthearted people, and those can be some of the most successful people are lighthearted, they play, they bring curiosity into their job. It matters. So, those are all just a few things that I want you guys to think about. And now I'm going to head on over, and I'm hoping that we've got some of you guys here live so we can start talking about all of this. So, Kelly is here. Okay, so I have just given up and accepted that my husband cannot be trained. Okay, so that is true. Your husband cannot be trained, but your husband can change. So it is possible. It's just he might not change in the ways that you want him to change. But us being more appreciative of the things that they are doing, it makes us see them in a different light. And that is just true. So we can get really frustrated with our people in our life, or we can decide, okay, you know what? I want to be with this person. And so I'm going to just find all of the things that they do and I'm going to pick out the best part in them. So a good example is Mike. Mike, he's very loud. He doesn't care about what people think. And in our first relationship, so we dated years and years ago. I remember being embarrassed like that he would be really loud. And then I'm like, oh, that's inappropriate. Like, we can't be that loud in the grocery store. We can't be loud. Oh my gosh, this is just like, what are people going to think? And now I appreciate that part of him so much because it brings it out in me. And now I realize that instead of having the shame of being loud, I look around and I'm like, yeah, if people are looking, even if they're judging us, it's mainly because they don't feel like they can do it, you know? And the people that kind of join along or just smile or think it's funny, we brought joy to them. And it shows me that I can really be my full blown self anywhere I go. And so there was a time when, right after the pandemic, when the borders opened and we were able to spend a lot of time together, I wasn't able to go over to the States. He could only come to Canada just because of the rules of the border. And so we were doing a lot of traveling through just Ontario. So we'd go, spend a lot of time like in hotels and down by the water, just in Windsor. We'd go up to Toronto, we went up to Niagara Falls. We did all these things. And we were always the loudest couple in fill in the blank with whatever city we were in. And it was actually quite fun. And it's not obnoxious. It wasn't disrespectful. But it was funny that only took a mindset shift, that every time that it bothered me, I thought, why is this bothering me? And it was because of old programming. So I think that it's really important for us to be really looking at what we want, you know? And if we're in a relationship that we can't find any of that stuff that we're grateful for or happy for, then yeah, maybe it's time to leave. But for the most part, we chose that person. And so we get to choose. We get to choose a mindset of either, I'm going to just be in this and it's just going to, that's going to annoy me, or just focus on the good things. And I totally went off on a side. So Kelly, I was not talking about you during that. I ended up going up on a soapbox and getting really excited about when we talk about growth mindset. I just think it's fascinating how much we can shift the way that we look at other people and the way that we look at ourselves when we're in those relationships. Okay. So there's not any other action going on in the comments. So if you have a comment, question, or experience around either partnerships or youthfulness, mindset or not, which usually a lot of the time it's always a mindset thing, you can go ahead and put it in the comment section. Otherwise, I am going to go through a couple questions. Hey. Deirdre says, train the trainer. You have to train yourself before he can be trained. Ooh, so that's to Kelly and everybody that's listening. Yes, that is awesome. So actually, that's really, well, this is not, okay, so don't tell your partners that I said this, but it's just like when you're talking to, dog trainers. My girlfriend, they had a dog trainer because the dog was just not wouldn't listen. Okay. So rambunctious, all the things. People would come to the door, crazy, all this thing. So they're like, we need to take her to a dog trainer. And the majority of the dog training was not training the dog. It was training the owners of how to be with the dog, the things that you would have to do with the dog. And so I'm not calling our partners dogs, but Deirdre, the trainer is a big thing. It's how we show up in our relationships. And positivity is contagious. Happiness is contagious. All of it is contagious. And so if we can really be putting our best foot forward and looking for all of those things, especially if we start having the mindset of really appreciating all of the little things that they do. it not only helps us look at our relationships in a better light, that we're like, oh my gosh, this feels good. Like, I can't wait till he does that again. That was fun. But it also gets them excited that, oh, wow, she was really happy when I did fill in the blank, when I emptied the dishwasher, when I whatever. And then they want to do more, because really, we always want to please other people. You don't have to be a people pleaser to want that. It's just if you're in a relationship, you want to make that other person happy. Sometimes we don't know how to make that person happy. So if we can be really open and communicate with what we need, sometimes it just makes it easier for both parties. So yeah, training the trainer. I love that, Deirdre. Awesome. I also, it kind of reminds me, since we're talking about relationships and mindset, and you guys go ahead and comment and put whatever questions or whatever you have in the comment section. But just for now, I just want to bring this up. So there was a book, I should have pulled it out, but I didn't even really think I was going to be talking about it today. But there's a book and it's called The 5 Love Languages. And what it is it's a way of looking at the way that you feel loved. What a lot of people think is that there's a quiz in there, and a lot of people think that once they figure out what their love language is, that's the way that they show love to people. Okay, so there's things like touch is one of them. Words of affirmation is another one. Acts of service is another one. And then there's 2 others. Gifts, I think. And I can't remember what the 5th one is. Obviously, it's not mine. So, and what people miss is that they think that's my love language. So that's how I show love to people. And that's true to an extent, because the reason why you use that love language to show your love to somebody is because that love language is the way that you feel loved. So mine is acts of service. Okay. So I show my love to people, not by buying them gifts, not by using nice, sweet words, not by physical touch, but by doing things for them, taking the garbage out, opening a door for them, all of those things. And so Deidre says quality time. So yours is quality time. Okay. So because, yours is quality time, mine is acts of service, what I do is I show other people that I love them by doing acts of service. But that's not actually what this whole idea is all about. What it is figuring out what your love language is, and that's what you need. So if you're in a relationship, I highly recommend doing the quiz, reading the book, buying the book, and learning what the other person's love language is, because then the way that you show your love for them is through their love language, not yours. So for me, I always think, okay, if I'm going to, make the bed or I'm going to do the dishwasher, that's me showing Mike that I love him. But he actually couldn't care less. That dishwasher could be never emptied by me and he wouldn't care. He makes dinner every night. If I make dinner, it's not going to change anything. He's not going to be like, oh my God, she loves me because she finally made dinner. No. However, his is touch. So for him, when we're driving, if I just touch the back of his head, he loves it. He's like, oh my God, she really loves me. But because it's not my love language, I don't think about doing it. But now I have had the mindset that, okay, I want to make sure that I am touching him so he knows how much I love him. But the acts of service or quality time, he likes quality time too, but that's not important to him. So if I want to really show him how I love him, hold his hand, touch the back of his hand or his head, do things like that. If he wants to show me that he loves me, he's not going to use his love language. He's not going to touch me and play with my hair. I mean, he might because he thinks, that's good for him. So it's good for me too. It's not. That doesn't do anything for me. It's like, oh, that's nice. He's touching me and that's great. But I don't care. But you take the garbage out, man. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you really care about me. So that, just when we're talking about mindset and relationships, that book is really, really good. And taking that test is really good as long as we use it in the way that it's actually intended, is to learn about other people. And you don't even have to do the quiz, really. You just look to see how they're showing up. So if they're doing a lot of acts of service for you, then that probably means that's what their love language is. They really feel they really feel like that's how they show love. And so that is also how they can receive love. So, okay. So normally I put comments up, but I'm actually not needing a video editor. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Only Zeus. So anyway, so I wanted to share that as well because I think it's really, really important. So now you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're very sweet. So you're welcome. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our scenario cards. I did not pre-plan any of these. Sometimes I pick them out and, pre-plan which ones I'm going to do, but I did not do that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one from gratitude, one from life, and one from, let's say, impact. And we'll do 3 of those and then we'll wrap it up. So what I do is I grab the cards and then I just grab a random one from each one. And then as I'm asking the question, you go ahead and put your answers in. What I recommend is that you start answering one of them and then push enter once you answer that one and then answer the next one. That way you're not typing out 3 answers in one comment. Do you know what I mean? And I will be reading them a couple times. I'll also be giving what my answer is for it. So this is just a fun way for us to get to know our friends in the podcast. So let's go and see what we've got here. So, okay, they're all what ifs. So the first one is, what if you had just 5 minutes to live and a pen and paper to write one last message? Who would you write it to and what would it say? Okay, good. That was actually the reason why I like these is that it's like a quick thing that you're like, oh, this is what I would do. So answer that way. And then also, if you're like, as we're talking about it, you're like, oh man, actually, maybe I would do this. That's just fun. The deeper that you think about it, the deeper your answer will become. The next question is, what if you could instantly get the most important missing element from your life right this moment? What missing piece would you desire? Okay, I like that one too. And the last one is, what if you could change one thing about your early years growing up? What would you change? Okay, so these are good. Okay, so Kelly says it would be to my children and it would tell each one of them why I am proud of them. Cal, that's amazing. I love that. Deirdre says, my girls, you have made me an amazing, caring mother who is so proud of you both. Look at you both. Oh, that's so nice. Oh my gosh. You guys should tag your daughters and your kids inside of here. So then they know how you feel. I know that they know how you feel, but that would be nice. I need the second question again. Sure. So it's, what if you could instantly get the most important missing element from your life right this moment? What missing piece would you desire? Did you get that? Okay. Let me know. Deirdre says, a job in the industry that I love. Ooh, okay. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Okay. So wonderful, ladies. Okay. And so let me go. I'll do one of them. So what if you had just 5 minutes to live and a pen and paper to write one last message? Who would you write to and what would you say? I think I would probably write to Mike, tell him how much I love him and how much I'm going to miss him. And I would also ask him in there to make sure that he tells my parents and my sister how much I love them and will miss them. And to also reach out to anybody that he thinks should hear a message from me, since I share everything with him, everything. So he knows exactly how I feel about all my friends, all my family. And I know that he would be able to, let them know how I feel. So that is probably what I would do. And I also don't have kids, so I don't have to tell them I'm proud of them. Okay. So the second one, oh, yeah, you bet. Okay, so Deirdre just wants the third question. And the third question is, What if you could change one thing about your early years growing up? What would you change? Okay. So, the second one I'm going to answer that is, what if you could instantly get most important missing element from your life right this moment? What missing piece would you desire? Um, what's the most important missing piece of my life? It is probably um oh gosh. Clearly there's a lot of missing pieces that I would like to have right now. Um I think it would probably be I think it actually would be. I think it would be unlimited money. I think that's the missing piece, only because um yeah, I think that's the only missing piece for me, really, because the rest of it, I was like, I want more time to dive into my personal growth. I want more time to work on my business. But really, if I had an abundant amount of money, then I'd be able to hire out a lot of things to gain more time. I would be able to pay for a lot more therapy to be able to, and coaches to be able to just expedite all of that learning and growing. So I think it's money. I think that would be the missing piece, the most important one, just an abundance of money. Kelly says, second question, I'd pick to be physically fit and strong. Being healthier would change many things in my life. Awesome. Okay. Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, health, if we don't have it, it's so true. You know, it's so funny because people are like, oh, I don't have the money to, eat well. I don't have the time to exercise. I don't have, and if you don't have your health, let me tell you, the money and time that you're going to be spending on fixing that health, man. So, yes. Deidre says, I wish I had the opportunity to go and do the things I really wanted to. Okay, so is that going back to the second one again, or are you talking about the thing that you would like to change as your younger years? And then Kelly says, the third question is, I tell my younger self that the people who are your people, you don't need to chase after. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. That is really, really good. Okay. So that last question is, what if you could change one thing about your early years growing up? What would you change? You know what I think I would change is I think that um I think I would go to therapy. There were a lot of times as I was growing up, especially in my 20s, and especially after, you know, I had that episode that I wanted to go to therapy, and I talked myself out of it because I was like, no, I don't want that. It was so messed up. No, I don't want people to know that I'm going to therapy. No, what if the word gets out and then people think that I have a problem and then they won't hire me? What if somebody sees me walking in there and they judge me? Like, all of that is just true. I was a very different person in my younger years than I am now. And now I just want to tell everybody, I really do think, I say this all the time, I think we all should have a family doctor, a dentist, and a therapist. Like, we should just have all three. And so that is a thing that I wish that's what I would change in my early years, is that I would have therapy a lot quicker than I did. So, okay. So Deidre says that was for her third. She says, I hear you having brother that was sick was messed up too. Yes. Yes. So that would be one thing that you would want to change too. Yeah, absolutely. Which makes it, yeah, okay. So if I could change one thing, I would also want my sister not to be sick. But I think therapy really is, that's for me the biggest thing. These were really cool. Okay. You guys, I'm gonna pick one more. I really like these. And I love that you guys are like you're doing them really quick. So I'm gonna do one more. This one is out of the vision box, so we'll see what it is. But it says, what if you could press a button and receive one thing that you don't have today? What would it be? Oh, so very similar to that other question that was from a different box. So what would be, if you could press a button, you could have that one thing, what would it be? Uh, Kelly says, this is a fun game. Yeah, I love it. I feel like, you know what? I think I might just put one of these boxes in my purse. And just so when I'm out and like you're at a grocery store, I'll just be like, hey, so if you had blah, 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 Yeah, I think that's really fun. Okay, so if you could press a button and receive one thing that you don't have today, what would it be? Um, my sister's health. Absolutely, hands down. That's what I would do. If I could press a button and it could just clean up her colon and her colitis, I would do that in a second. So that's what that would be. Uh, nice. Kelly says a purple Victorian mansion. Yes. Okay, manifest that shit, girl. Deidre says a bigger house with amazing sunsets. Ooh, that's awesome. She is. Deidre is manifesting that. She already has her sights set on a house or something better. So yeah, girls, that's awesome. Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll do one more. Okay. And if you guys are listening to this and you're not commenting because you're just like, oh, they're doing it, that's fine. Comment. And if you're listening to this in the replay, come on over to one of the Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever it is, and then comment. And then I'll reply. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Okay, so we're gonna do this last one. This last one is for self. And let's see what it is. It's so fun. I miss, yeah, Britt's not here and Mel's not here. And usually they're the ones that are like always all over this game. So, okay, what if you could launch any product and success would be guaranteed? What would you launch and why? Okay, one product. A product. Okay. So, because everything that I'm thinking is like a service, because I really love the coaching and I really love all of the like challenges and things that I'm doing. So I would kind of go like some people call those a product. But if it was one product and it could be successful and success was guaranteed. Okay. I'm just gonna make up a product that this is This is funny because this is what I told Mike today. I was like, I wish, and so this is not what they're talking about. They're talking about you wanting to have a product that the sale of them is successful. I think that's what they mean. But what I'm going to go with is a product that I wish was actually like legit that you could have. I wish that there was a product that it was just like a drink that you could just have one drink. In the morning and then you were good for all of your needs. Like you had optimal health and it gave you like all the nutrients that you need for the day. It gave you all your hydration. It gave you everything. And you just had to have that one drink in the morning. I told him I was like one for breakfast, one for lunch, and one for dinner. But ideally, I would like to just wake up in the morning, start my routine, have that one glass of whatever that magic was. And then I didn't have to eat or drink again for the rest of the day. And anything that I ate or drank would be bonus, but I wouldn't have to think about it. So that's what I would want, even though that's not really what they're asking. Okay. So did you guys come up with anything that you would want? Kelly says, I also pick your product. Yes, ma'am. And then Deidre says, Fountain of Youth serum that enhances not only your inner beauty, but external beauty too. Oh, that's good. That's cute. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Well, this was amazing. I am going to wrap up for now. And if you guys have any ideas of what you want the theme to be for next month, February, let me know. And I will announce that next Wednesday. And then we will be talking about health and affection for yourself next Wednesday. And yeah, that's it. In the meantime, if you guys want to come on over to the Happy Circle, I'd love to have you there. It's free. It's like a little kind of Facebook, Instagram community, but without all of the like negative political shit that's going on. It's all just happiness and growth, and I'd love to have you there. You can go to hellohappiness.ca and click there and become a part of us. So I'd love to see you. And if I don't talk to you before, have a wonderful, happy, and healthy week. And I will see you next Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks, ladies. Bye-bye.